Let's get your breaking piece of news that's coming in regarding the Manipur violence. The matter is before the Supreme Court of the country, where the Supreme Court has asked the Manipur government to file a status report. The Supreme Court has emphasized that due arrangements should be made in relief camps in terms of food, medical supplies, and also efforts should be made on part of the government for rehabilitation of the displaced people and also protecting their places of worship. Now, the Manipur government, we have been told, has informed the Supreme Court that companies of CAPF and columns of Assam rifles have been deployed to take care of the situation. And the state government is also informed that normalcy is returning in Manipur. My colleague Ananya is joining us with all of the latest that's coming out of the court. Ananya, now that the Supreme Court has taken cognizance to the ethnic violence that erupted in Manipur, and the state government is also ensuring that everything that the Supreme Court is advising is being adhered with. What else is coming out of the court so that we can expect that normalcy that the state government is talking about can stay in Manipur?
Well, the Supreme Court this particular matter with regards to the violence that broke down in the state of Manipur with regards to, the reservation being granted to some communities. And in fact, one very, very categorical observation that the topmost court of the country had to make was that the High Court, the Manipur High Court, the single judge bench order, which had in fact given out that particular reservation, was something that the High Court had gone out of its jurisdiction, because remember that orders of reservation are actually given out by the president itself, and these are presidential orders and cannot be passed by the High Court, is what the Supreme Court actually observed. But at the same point of time, the Supreme Court said that it would be coming on the reservation issue after normalcy would be retrieved in the state, and in fact there would be normalcy that would return to the state of Manipur. Now, what happened during the hearing and what the Supreme Court said? The Supreme Court has emphasized that due arrangements shall be made in relief camps in terms of food and medical support to, in fact, those who've been displaced. Now, secondly, the Supreme Court says that efforts shall be made on the part of the government for rehabilitation of displaced persons and protecting places of worship there. So, very, very important and humanitarian order. In fact, Supreme Court also said that since it's a matter where various lives have been lost, the proceedings shall not be made adversarial, because there is a humanitarian issue involved. There are people who had actually lost their lives, and there are many who have been displaced. Now, in fact, the Manipur government informed that over 52 companies of, in fact, the Central Armed Police Force, that is the CAPF, has been deployed up along with the Army. The Indian Army's Assam Rifles units have also been deployed in that particular area, and flag marches are being conducted continuously in areas of disturbance, and all efforts are being made to, in fact, ensure that there is normalcy that returns to the state. In fact, it has also been stated and recorded by the court in its order that for last 2 days, no kind of violence has been reported in the state, and the state is returning towards a normalcy state. Now, the state government has been asked to file a status report, and the Supreme Court would now be hearing the matter in a few days from now.
Ananya, that's an important point that you've made about the Supreme Court not willing to look at the High Court's decision matter till normalcy returns to Manipur. However, it's an important aspect that you are highlighting before our viewers, where the Supreme Court had in fact mentioned that the High Court had gone out of its jurisdiction to grant the ST status to the Meitei community that lives in Manipur. And this is what had started this entire ethnic violence. What do we know about the pleas that have been put forth by the Tribal Students Association before the court against this verdict that had come out of the High Court?
Well, definitely this is an aspect that is a major part of what had happened in the state of Manipur. But the Supreme Court very, very clearly stated that, at this point of time, the main target is is protection, aid and stabilization. And I quoted from Dr. Justice Dhananjay Yashwant Chanchud, the CJI himself, that he says that our immediate target is protection and stabilization and also providing aid. We are deeply concerned about the loss of life and property. We must also leave it to the government to ensure that the concerns are met with regard to the rehabilitation of people. So the Supreme Court clearly saying that, the reservation issue can come second. The reservation issues can be dealt on at a later stage. But at this point of time, what is very, very important and crucial is that the protection is granted to people who have been displaced, rehabilitation of people happen, and no kind of a violence again breaks out in the particular state, so that security arrangements are also made in a proper manner.
All right. Thank you so much for that, Ananya. And with that, we are